so very, very old.
I gotta say, I like the overlay.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool. We are now live. YouTube says we're live.
We're live on Twitch, too.
Excellent.
The sound was good, too, so.
Excellent. I went back to push to talk, so I'm just going to have to jump back and forth. That sucks. Just one more thing I got to do.
We'll figure it out. Well, this is first test run on Discord, so.
It is. Yes, if we sound slightly different, it's because we're running off of Discord now instead of TeamSpeak, so we'll see what happens. But welcome to the Geek EZ. We got a shorter show for you tonight because I have things to do this evening, so.
Also, we're kind of transitioning over, so, we kind of want to ease into that.
We'll ease into it. Just the tip at first.
Be gentle.
We will. Wow, I went right in the gutter right off the bat.
Well, there went our PG-13 rating for the night.
Well, that's a PG-13. I'm pretty sure you can say just the tip in a PG-13.
Just say the tip of what? They don't know.
Tip of the iceberg that flipped over.
They are playing the Titanic on some channel tonight.
Yeah, for like 4 hours.
The boat doesn't sink this time.
I have never watched that movie, and I don't intend to.
Really? It's actually good.
Really? You don't want to hear Celine Dion?
It's worth watching at least once.
Yeah, that one's worth it. But anyway, we should probably do our little intro thing and then move on to stuff to talk about, I guess.
We got yes, because since Discovery is over and we got other stuff coming into play. So let's do that, and we'll be back in 60 seconds.
The podcast is intended for mature audiences. The opinions expressed do not reflect this station or any affiliated partners. Listener discretion is advised.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Geek EZ.
Just talking? Well, what's the show about? It's about nothing.
And that's where Discord does not work very well.
So it wasn't just me, it was tinny for everybody?
Oh, yeah. It is because of the way that I have to set up Teletran here because they don't have a constant on. He is on voice activation, so any small little whatever, and he stops losing. Poor Teletran.
Yeah, again, I'll figure something out.
Yeah.
I just noticed that you actually replaced Tade's character picture with an actual penguin.
Yeah, we should update that now because it's usually Roland here and then sometimes Tade.
At this point, yeah. Of course, now people can see that we're here. I mean, we're right there in the video now.
Hi, people.
Yeah.
Hello.
Hello,
my baby.
Hello.
my
Hello.
Yep.
Hello.
They
See
now
how we
have
personify ourselves.
Yep. They now have a proverbial face to the voice.
Except for me.
Down there, Teletran.
Holy cow. Yeah, he's not happy.
That was the tinniest Wookiee we've ever heard.
That really was.
Speaking of which, where's Bob?
I don't have Bob.
Roar.
I have this queued up, ready to go.
Earlier, I had something queued up, ready to go. It was great. No, literally, it was beautiful. We're over on our gaming Discord, we're playing with a music bot that lets us play music in the channel and everything like that. And Tank got angry just as I was about to test the bot with Team 4 Star's Vegeta getting pissed. Everybody dies!
I didn't really get angry. I just was like, that's stupid. Stupid.
Tank also gets mad if we send too many GIFs in Facebook chat.
Only because you destroy my data, you jackasses. It wasn't a problem when I was working at the other location because I connect to the internet there. I can't do that here where I am now.
Like gas.
So it's it goes straight to my data, and then you guys purposely did it. You just like send a whole bunch of I hate all of you. To be fair, that statement holds true at all times. But that's neither here nor there.
Well, there is a reason why you have in parentheses 120 millimeter heat.
Bring the heat.
It's occasionally 120 millimeters of hate.
Yeah, the E and the A move around a little bit.
So what are we going to talk about first? The thing that happened on the thing?
Which thing?
Well, I think maybe first, just because it's so prevalent in the news right now. Issue going down in Florida. This is ridiculous, guys. We got to stop doing this stuff.
Yeah, if there's warning signs, which I'm gathering there were on this one, there should have been a heads up.
And in case you guys come to this later and watch this and like, what are they talking about? We're talking about the shooting that's happened in Florida, where the 19-year-old who was expelled came back and just took out almost his same number of people who match his age.
Either way, it's a disturbing. Yeah,
it's a very disturbing trend.
Which we can go into the long discussion of the mental health of the youth of today's society, but we won't.
Yeah, that one's a tough one to get into anyway, just because when people are growing up, you're going through so many changes anyways. Your mind is literally insane pretty much the entire time until you finally reach maturity, or in some people's case, you never reach maturity.
True. But either way, I mean, horrible situation down there. We don't debate any of the other social stuff that's going to go with it. It's just it's in the news right now. It's in the forefront.
I think we're all kind of in agreement anyway. Some
point.
I mean, some of us are obviously for firearms. I don't know if there's anybody who's actually against, but we're all pretty much in agreement. We should probably do something.
Yeah, something needs to be done, but I mean, again, on this end, when I was reading this stuff on CNN about it and a few other news places, there were warning signs. This guy's social media was pretty, from what the police are gathering, or said from what they gathered, it was beyond disturbing. So, I know it sounds so cliche that our thoughts are out with their families and stuff of the victims, but they are. The thought of sending your kid to school and your kid not coming home is horrific.
For the two parents in the room, that's probably terrifying.
It is beyond terrifying.
Be sure to hug the kids before you slap them on the metal tube and send them flying off to Florida.
Well, everybody here can attest to this because I said it in our Facebook chat earlier. When my kid's bus is late, the irrational part of me starts freaking out.
Now, I don't know if when they're late, but I mean, I know just because it snows here and we have icy roads and when they don't close schools, and I know that it's kind of touch and go out there, I get worried. I mean, of course I do. I mean, I remember riding a school bus. It wasn't that long ago. And
Firefly has arrived.
Who?
Oh, yeah, we got Firefly in the Twitch chat.
Ooh, Firefly in the chat. But yeah, I mean, I worry about my kids every day, especially with this kind of stuff. I mean, we had a threat. There was a threat written on the high school wall here in Orville, Ohio, and it made local news. There was another threat on a school in the town over. Nothing came about it. It was probably just a copycat because the one that they found in the other school was first, And somebody was just probably going, "Hey, look, I'm going to do something cool." And of course, they locked the schools down, and everything was all bad. But there was, I mean, it's still a terrifying in this day and age. It's a terrifying thing, and there's a lot of factors involved. Like I said, the mental health of the youth today and young people in general. There, it seems that there's an issue there somewhere, and I don't know why, but
It's because they take away recess.
love your kids, people. Stop letting your kids grow up like this.
Mamas, don't let your kids grow up to be cowboys.
No, it's mamas don't let your kids grow up to be Kim Kardashian.
That's probably the best warning of them all.
Mama, don't let your kids grow up to be reality stars.
So wait,
I don't know. On the one hand, Kim Kardashian. On the other hand, she's super wealthy, and I could probably live anywhere in the world on my kid's dime at that point.
I'm sorry, are we talking? Did you say Kardashian or Cardassian?
Kardashian, you know, the one that's got the channel thingy and basically making money for nothing.
She's famous for being famous.
She's famous for being famous.
Crazy thing is, we've been doing nothing for years, and we're still not famous or got money.
True, and we're not climbing in the giant metal tube. We're actually driving down to Florida.
Well, you're getting in a slightly smaller metal tube.
True.
How long is it to drive down to get to that point? From
16
there?
hours.
Oof, that's a long drive.
Down what? The 10?
Which is funny because I calculated it's about 16 hours for me to get to about where Adam is, and I'm well north of Florida.
Yeah, you're closer, technically.
It took me 12 hours to get to Kentucky this summer.
Now, I don't want to get her in trouble, but when I was still living in Florida, long before the kids and all that, and my then-to-be wife came to visit me, she made that trip. She drove down after work one day. She got out of work and drove down. She made it in 12 hours.
That's hauling. That's hauling.
Yeah, that car was flying. She called me and she's like, "Yeah, I'm in Georgia." I was like, "How the heck are you in Georgia?"
Well,
how are you in Georgia? The last time you called me, like 2 hours ago, you were like just leaving West Virginia. It's 2 hours. There's no way you made it through North and South Carolina already. No way.
Depends on which highway you take.
If you're on 95, you can tool on 95.
Yeah, so pretty much going triple digits in an 80-mile zone.
I don't think there are any 80s down through there, are there? I think 75 is the max.
70, yeah. I don't think there are any 80s.
Yeah, but you can go 80 as long as you're not...
Yeah, if you're keeping up with the flow of traffic. I mean, if you're doing like 110, 115, yeah, you're going to get busted, but...
You're not... Don't drive, insane. You'll be fine.
Yeah, she did. Yeah, I was amazed. But that's neither here nor there. Let's move on to the sci-fi geeky stuff.
Actually, no. We're going to get into politics.
Oh, dear God, no, please.
The politics of dancing?
No, we're going to get into politics, like how Florida is issuing out potential laws about lockboxes in video games.
Oh?
Hmm.
So they're following suit with Hawaii.
I just said Hawaii.
I thought you said Florida.
Yeah, you said Florida.
Oh, I meant Hawaii. We were talking about figure. Anyway, so there's about 4 different bills being presented, but the gist of it is they don't want any video games that contain lockboxes to be sold to anyone under the age of 21 because they want it to be considered gambling. They want the statistics, the drop chances of all items in the lockboxes to be made publicly available. They want video games that contain lockboxes to be properly labeled to state as such. This sort of stuff, stuff that should already be happening.
Mm-hmm.
Microtransactions.
Battlefront. I'm sorry.
Yeah, pretty much this is all because of Battlefront. EA boned it hard.
They screwed the pooch.
Yeah, but you realize now they're probably going to appeal it, and so that's going to start going up the chain.
Which is going to be even worse for them when it's in national news.
again.
Except it's going to be national news on a federal government level.
So that'll affect things like Star Trek Online?
It would
Star
affect
Trek.
STO. It would affect any game with lockbox mechanics, yes.
But this also doesn't apply nationwide, just in the state of Hawaii.
It would affect nationwide because then every game would have to change things, and even if, say, they didn't have to post their stuff here in North Carolina, they would have to post it publicly in Florida, which it would be Florida again, Hawaii, which means anybody in the nation or the world really could see it.
Yeah, but something tells me that most major game developers like EA will just simply cut Florida or Hawaii off.
Now you're doing it.
Hawaii is a small enough market that they won't worry about
Well,
it.
here's the thing:
precedent.
Hawaii's the one making the move right now. About half of the U.S. states are currently in the process of formulating bills like this. Hawaii's just the first one making the move.
It sets precedent, so there is that.
I understand that. I'm just saying if Hawaii's the only one that successfully passes this law, though, all that'll happen is they'll just cut Hawaii off from those games because Hawaii won't be considered a big enough market to change all of that for them.
Except that
Firefly,
I doubt it'll just be Hawaii. If Hawaii does it, other states are going to follow.
Firefly's got an interesting point here. He'd be most interested in hearing what argument would be brought forward to defend not disclosing the odds. And some games apparently are already disclosing them just as a matter of principle. Grinding Gear Games, who makes Path of Exile. And China has apparently insisted on it, which Blizzard apparently tried to weasel out of.
And to a degree, they did succeed. Warframe, while it doesn't have lockboxes, does provide the drop chances of everything in the game.
And even then, it's like even if it didn't come from Digital Extremes, most people tend to run the math and figure out, okay, so there's a so and so % chance.
Like, in regards to Star Trek Online, most people have a pretty good idea what the drop rate of the ships are because people have done that math.
It's lame. That's what the drop chance is.
Unless you're Tade.
Or me.
He must have the golden touch.
No, literally. Tade bought keys just for Luby, and he opened his second box and got one.
And then there's me.
He got the Klingon.
No,
He got the sarcophagus.
he got the sarcophagus ship.
Okay, he doubly sucks. But then there's me, who buys 20 keys. Not a damn thing.
The goal tank is to go into it not wanting the ship.
Yep.
It cannot read my mind.
So,
Facebook
Alistair?
can.
Yeah, I was to say, Alistair, how did you get that one ship from the R&D weekend?
Actually, every ship I've ever gotten out of the lockbox, which has been 3 of them, I got without wanting them. I did not initially want the Alachi Dreadnought. I got the Alachi Dreadnought. I did not initially want the Science Dreadnought. I got the Science Dreadnought. I did not initially want the Universe class, and I got the Universe class and then promptly sold it after Tank called me a son of a bitch.
Actually,
And
Tank,
Burrito.
and quite a few people actually called you that.
The funny thing is, Burrito came out of nowhere specifically to call you that.
User has entered your channel. You son of a bitch! User has exited your channel.
Anyways, Alistair, since we mentioned Digital Extremes, Firefly mentioned about Digital Extremes, what they're doing right, as opposed to Bungie.
Yeah, also, of course, Jim Sterling's been talking about it a lot. Jim Sterling's like, honestly, I'm kind of confused. Not used to developers doing this sort of thing. Basically, to give an example, one of the big complaints about Digital Extremes and Warframe is that when they unvault stuff, they release these unvaulted packs, which contain a Warframe, a weapon,
2 weapons.
and some cosmetics. Yeah. 2 weapons and some cosmetics. But but you can only buy it as that bundle. And say, like right now, there's an Ember Prime bundle, and let's say you already had Ember Prime. The only way but you wanted the cosmetics. The only way you could get it is to buy that bundle in the useless Ember Prime that you can't do anything with. You can't trade it. You can only maybe sell it for credits, but it's kind of worthless to do that. So, not only, though admittedly it's been a couple years, of complaints, not only has DE been gone like, okay, you want unvaulting cosmetics, stuff like that, that they didn't go, okay, we're going to make cosmetic bundles. They went, what do you want? How do you want it? And how much do you think it should cost?
I don't want to spend any money. I want everything to be free. Thank you.
Actually, here's the interesting thing.
That was one of the things they said. I want the one that costs the least amount of money with the most stuff.
I was just saying, here's the interesting thing, Adam.
Hmm.
Save for the the Prime cosmetics, everything in that game you can pretty much get for free with just a lot of time and effort.
Yep, Warframes, you can grind them out. A lot of the basic cosmetics, you can grind them out. The Prime Warframes, you can grind them out. Something on the market you want that you can't actually acquire in-game and costs platinum, grind out something to sell for platinum.
Of course, that excludes Tenogen created items that go through Steam.
Yeah, Tenogen and for the moment, the Prime accessories are, and well, the Prime Access are the exception because Tenogen is designed by community members. So whenever they sell anything related to Tenogen, part of that money goes to the person who helped create it.
I don't know. I don't in free-to-play games. I don't think it's a big deal because they're free to play. But if you're spending money on a game and you then have to keep dropping money, it's ridiculous.
$25 for a ship.
Well, Battlefront was just stupid. I mean, the game is already outrageously expensive.
In half defense, even though I agree that they are over expensive, I at least prefer being able to outright buy what I want than to gamble for it.
True. Which they did not give you the option to do, I don't think.
For
Battlefront.
No, I was referring to Tank's comment about $25 for a ship.
Yeah, but if you have the outright, if you can go out and just drop $25 and buy what you want, it's one thing. But if you've got a game that you're already dropping $75 for, and most of the stuff that you're going to want to play is DLC that you have to pay for. I mean, they've got some free DLC, but there's stuff you still have to pay extra for to get it. And then you on top of it, have to pay more for all the little, whether it's cosmetic or not, the upgrades and all that stuff to your characters and all. It's ridiculous. I don't want to drop $4,000 on a game that I shouldn't have to.
Like the Blaze Blue Cross Battle game, which had the same situation. Like literally 80% of the characters that were going to be available in the game were going to be DLC. The DLC was going to cost more than the base game, and
that's redundant.
That was a shitstorm they dealt with.
That, exactly.
That did not constitute that sound effect, okay?
Sure it did. Oh, okay. You know what? What the swearing? Because I can do that too. There, how's that? Hurt my ears too. Keeping in I can't remember. I think it was IO9 or one of those. That there's a rumor that Disney might be pulling the Star Wars license from EA.
Please God, yes.
But well, are you talking about exclusivity?
I didn't read the article. I just saw the headline and it says rumor, and again, just rumor. But it says Disney contemplating removing or pulling.
I would imagine it would just be exclusivity license because, quite frankly, I don't know why they thought exclusivity was a good idea with EA to begin with.
Well, there's another article floating around that they were talking to 2 other companies as well, so I get maybe it would be they're just pulling the exclusivity.
Because, I mean, one of the big major complaints that people have had is the fact that EA has been, having had this exclusive license, been hyping up a bunch of these games and then cancels them.
1313?
1313 wasn't EA.
Oh, yeah.
There was... what was that company? It was the one they closed right before they bought Respawn.
Oh, the one that did Dead Space?
Working on a Star Wars game. And basically it got leaked that EA did not like the fact that they were making a single-player game, which everybody wanted a single-player game, and that it would not be able to be monetized. Visceral, Firefly, Visceral, and so they closed Visceral. And the closing of Visceral, the dissolving of that game that everybody was looking forward to, and then the Battlefront 2 fiasco, the issue with their mobile games in regards to Star Wars, it was basically a perfect storm of EA screwing with the Star Wars franchise in the course of about 3 months right before the Last Jedi came out.
Disney brought this on themselves when they shut down LucasArts.
Well, LucasArts itself wasn't really producing anything, so
Yeah, LucasArts at the end was a licensing company.
I mean, the 1313 was the last game that they were actually actively developing, and that was with everything within the Lucasfilm, et cetera, umbrella.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but...
You are. Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, didn't Lucas shutter the games division before they got acquired?
No.
Could have sworn
Nope.
that it was before the Disney acquisition.
You are wrong.
Disney shut all of their gaming stuff down, not just LucasArts. Everything was going to be licensed out. They had their own internal thing, but everything that dealt with making video games internally within any of the houses that Disney owns was shut down.
I do like Firefly's comment here, though. I can almost hear Disney now. You have failed me for the last time! Look, I can't do Darth Vader's voice, so I have to go with Mickey.
Is that the right one? I've got the sound keyed up for every time Burrito enters this room when we're on the air.
You should not come back.
I approve.
Okay, let's move on because I do want to keep it short because I got a lot to do tonight.
So we're going to talk in depth about how it's Valentine's Day. No.
It is. Happy Valentine's Day, everybody, by the way.
Happy Singles Awareness Day.
Or what Roland said, yes.
Or Ash Wednesday, if that's something you practice.
Oh, I forgot it was Ash Wednesday.
Or if it's your birthday, happy birthday.
What'd you give up for Lent? Catholicism?
Well, actually, according to another one of our buddies, apparently Easter this year falls on April 1st.
Yes.
Canceled.
Can you give up Lent for Lent?
I don't know. I don't know how that process works, man.
I'm not a Catholic. I don't know.
I'm officially a Methodist, thereby we're considered, fire breathers to begin with, so...
Explains the temper.
No, that was actually the term that they referred to a lot of those, like Baptists and Methodists and Presbyterians. They're fire breathers because, storm and fire, blah, 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 so on and so forth. That was around the same time that we saw the appearance of the Mormons, because there was a whole bunch of these guys running around. And so, yeah, that's your bit of history for the day.
Cool.
Wait, what?
Mormons?
No. Greatest American Hero.
Yes.
Is getting a reboot?
Yes, with a female lead.
Okay.
Interesting.
I kind of wish they would have done it as a...
Passing
not a
of the
reboot,
torch.
but like a passing of the torch. But I have no idea whether or not William Cat. I mean, I don't even know if he's acting anymore. So, used to love that show. Did you know?
Ironic.
Speaking of that, an old sci-fi and stuff TV show. I didn't know that Buck Rogers in the 25th Century was on Blu-ray. So if you ever want to see an original Battlestar Galactica redress, go watch that movie. And one of these days, someone will explain to me why Buck Rogers was dreaming about all those half-naked women for 500 years.
Isn't that what you dream about?
After 500 years, I think it would get old.
No, it just start getting really weird.
They start like warping into hamburgers and stuff. I am really hungry.
Lucky Charms.
Oh, Lucky Charm.
Okay, so what
Firefly's got a
exactly?
question.
What's the question?
Yeah, what's the question?
Question here is like, anyone else catch the movie nod in the image? He had dropped a link, and I put it in the Cantina channel.
The Overlord with what looks to be either Terminator or RoboCop.
You caught it. I didn't. Yeah, apparently it's. Yeah, he showed that to me, and I'm going, well, it's neat and all, but it's like a computer startup. He's like, you're on the right track, and I'm like, I got nothing. It was RoboCop. As a matter of fact, it's the exact text apparently from when RoboCop first boots up, I think. So, yeah, Roland, you got it.
Yay. What do I win?
Another beer!
Oh, I
An
wanted a
SUX 2000.
Chocobo.
The SUX 2000. What everyone's driving.
I wanted a peanut. $20 will get you many peanuts.
There is
Explain.
talks. What? Huh? Lots of peanuts. Speaking of RoboCop, they're talking about a sequel to the original, not another reboot.
I
don't
think
know
I
if we
did
talked
hear
about
that. For a
Yeah,
while back.
they're gonna pull a Superman Returns, aren't they?
RoboCop Returns.
And ignore a bunch of the movies.
I think it was a case of only the first two are considered canon. Everything else past that is like, nope, doesn't
But
exist.
I don't even think they're including the second one. I think they're doing straight after the first one.
RoboCop Patch Day.
Thank you for accepting the Apple's terms and conditions.
He's all white. He has like a little dial on the middle of it. Sorry, Apple.
Then he gets a virus, and because there's no tech support for Apple products on, for viruses, that's the end of the film.
Yep.
Also, Firefly says you get a no prize, Roland.
No prize. Excellent. We were going to do those Geek EZ no prizes a long, long time ago.
So
In a galaxy far away. Oh wait, we're not doing that song?
No.
On the more controversial front, there's a rumor going around that Zack Snyder didn't quit. He was fired from Justice League.
I call BS.
Yeah.
I'm calling
Considering what
BS.
happened.
Yeah, considering what happened, and because there were actual photographs of his last day on set before he left, and everybody, I mean, there was no, it didn't, yeah, so I'm calling BS on it.
It sounds like someone just trying to get shares and likes.
I don't know. I'm looking at the article on Geek Tyrant right now.
Yeah, and it comes from Collider, doesn't it? The source. Again, it's all about getting the button pushes.
No, it
Tyrant.
says it comes from veteran entertainment reporter Josh L. Dickey.
Oh,
Lord.
I wonder if that's the
And
same
then
guy.
Collider says they heard similar things.
Okay.
And that hit the Snyder's rough cut of the movie was unwatchable.
Seems contradictory to previous statements.
Either way. Movie comes out on Blu-ray on March 3rd, by the way.
So, who's looking forward to Kung Fury 2?
With Michael Fassbender.
Mm-hmm.
If there's no Magneto joke, I'll be disappointed.
No, you know what's going to disappoint disappoint me if there's a block joke in Avengers.
Oh, that'd be good.
Someone better say it,
Or mispronounce.
or both of them say it to each other, or somebody makes a statement and then both Strange and Tony Stark say it, and they'd be like, "Yep."
That would be amazing.
Yeah.
Well, I think we're more excited about a different kind of ship.
Well, yeah. Well, quick while we're doing this, because I'm just gonna throw this in because, like I said, another half hour, and I want to end it maybe a little less. But allegedly, Obi-Wan Kenobi is being shot this summer.
What did he do to get shot?
No, not Obi-Wan.
Who's
Obi?
He was our only
ruins-
hope.
Okay.
That ruins canon.
Oh my god. Okay, here we go. Okay, I'm going to use variety speak then. Allegedly, Obi-Wan Kenobi, the film, will start lensing in Europe this summer. Lensing.
But why?
Because they can't flens him because he's not a whale.
What did Obi-Wan do to piss off the lensman?
He realized the lensman because he realized the lensman was a ripoff of Star Wars?
No. Green Lantern is a ripoff of Lensman. Lensman came from like the 30s or 40s.
The Japanese anime.
No, the Lensman is an old sci-fi thing about protectors of the galaxy that have lenses that let them like project energy and all this other stuff. The whole Green Lantern Corps thing is a ripoff of the Lensman.
Oh, okay. Well, either way.
On the last bit of that, Wolfie went into hyper mode.
He was like,
He was just like
It's
30 words a minute.
Well, Green Lantern's from 1940.
the blonde dude.
Yeah.
But no,
Yes, but the blonde Green Lantern is not part of the Corps.
No.
But it's what started the whole Green Lantern thing.
He's been retconned that he actually is a Green Lantern, kind of, sort of, but it's not.
The first Lensman series originally was published in 4 parts from January to April 1934. In Amazing Stories.
Sci-fi rocks. It's been around so long. It's probably written by a woman, too, and nobody knows it.
It was written by Edward Elmer Doc Smith.
I think the very first superhero story was actually written by a woman.
So many of them were, and it was just like because of the time, and they had to use pseudonyms because no one would buy a story written by a woman.
What's really weird is that Lensman used to be insanely popular. In fact, in 1966, it was the runner-up to Asimov's Foundation series for the Hugo Award for Best All-Time Series.
Wow.
Thank you, Wikipedia. Because I'm looking at the exact same stuff.
Wah, wah, wah.
Hey, for quick stuff, I mean, it's good enough source for us.
It's all good. It's all good.
You don't want to use it in your papers, though.
So,
are we going to ship something now?
we're going to talk about ships. Let's talk about fandom that's upset about an iconic starship being changed because of its appearing in new media.
Well, they're screaming that it's
why did they change the Millennium Falcon?
Yeah, I was about to say the worst part is we could be talking about either Star Wars or Star Trek at this point.
It's true.
The
Millennium Falcon's a Tide commercial.
I'm going to go ahead and just go ahead and say this, and people can hate me as much as they want, all right? If Gene Roddenberry was alive today and he was making the cage, the Enterprise would probably look like it did at the end of Discovery.
We don't know that, though.
Probably because he probably would have given it depth, and because he's been on record saying similar things before, which is why they changed the Klingons for TNG, because they had the ability to do so.
Well, they changed it actually for TMP.
Yes, for the motion picture, and he's like, "This is what they always look like in my head."
Yes.
Well, I just think it's funny people talk about continuity and everything, yet they overlook the fact that when Roddenberry created Next Generation, he wanted absolutely zero links to the original series.
Well, he wanted to stand
It's
on
because everybody has their own particular view of Roddenberry's vision, and if Gene Roddenberry were to ascend or descend from wherever he happens to be, and tell them straight to their face, no, this is what I want, they would tell him that he's wrong.
One of the craziest ones I saw was people talking about, somebody talking about if you light the original ship right, it looks just as advanced. Look at Voyager. It's all smooth too. No, it's not. Voyager has texture.
They all do after that. The texture in the motion picture and the films, those was painted on to make it look like it was actual hull plating and stuff. But they all had. I mean, when they made they had the 11-foot model or whatever it is, 13-foot model of the D for Next Generation, the ILM built, and then there was a smaller model built third season on that had a lot more greebles on the skin, and it was obvious. You can see when they would switch between the two of them, and they have visual.
Even without like the texture on the underside of the saucer of the D, all the windows and everything even give the illusion of texture.
Okay, I'm going to say this. Of all the things that would have bothered me about the visual aspect of Discovery right off the bat, because they were claiming of where it was and that kind of stuff, it threw me back again because it had been how many years? 15 years since we'd seen any episodic Star Trek on TV.
And some people don't count Enterprise.
Exactly. When you look at Enterprise, and when they did it, and I know we talked to Doug Drexler about this, about how they stayed true to the original series when they did the In the Mirror Darkly miniseries, the two shows for that, that they kept the visual style from the originals. It still was jarring. I mean, I even said it. It was like, it really is, because they go from touch screens and all that stuff that they had on the Enterprise and XL1 to the jelly bean buttons on the Defiant. And yeah, it was like, it's laughable when Trip's like, I don't know, this technology is so far advanced. And I'm like, are you kidding me? But the visual continuity that goes on from Enterprise to John Eves, and I can't remember the other artist's name, and then the other guys in the art department.
Drexler?
No, it wasn't Drexler. Drexler designed the NX-01. John Eves has been doing a lot of ship designs for Discovery. He had to keep this under wraps as well. That this was in it, because this ship had been known it was going to be in the end show since the get-go. He and another artist sat down. He said that there were some minor changes later on that didn't involve him, that came from the visual effects side and the art department side, where like the nacelle pylons were straight up and down on his original design, more like the original series. But they kind of blended the TV show, the TOS Enterprise, and the TMP Enterprise in such a beautiful way. I really enjoyed seeing that on screen. I was like, that is an awesome design.
Go ahead.
This was the thing that I'm taking for this. If you put the NX-01 one into the spectrum, and then what most people, from what I've seen in Trek groups, keep saying their favorite Enterprise, which is the A, on the other end of the spectrum, which do you think fits better in the middle? The original series Enterprise or this one?
This one.
This looks like it can actually evolve into the TMP Enterprise without having to be completely rebuilt. Whereas,
but that ruins canon.
But the TOS Enterprise doesn't.
James R. Kirk, Red Klingon Blood. Scotty saying that Kirk pulled the Enterprise out of mothballs. See what else breaks canon. Let's see. There are no Q children.
We don't talk about it.
There are no Q children, yet there are Q children. Let's see. What else breaks canon and completely contradicts itself throughout the 50 years of Star Trek? Lots.
The 50 years of Star Trek contradicts itself. It's like the guy I was talking about who said that Discovery has no concept of scale, and I'm like, Star Trek has a 50-year tradition of having no concept of scale.
Yes, like Bird of Prey is the size of the D.
My biggest problem with the Enterprise that we see on screen is if they had that visual aesthetic in their pocket the whole time, why only use it for that one ship?
Because they actually didn't.
No, they don't.
If you go back, because we don't really see them very frequently because it's mostly about Discovery, but if you go back and you look at the other ships that appear in the series, like the Baran in the One Mirror episode, even the Shinzao, all that stuff, they have very similar aesthetics to the Enterprise more than they do to Discovery. Which is Discovery is a completely different sort of ship because of what it was built to do. So
see, to me, the Enterprise doesn't match those ships.
But you also have to remember, the Enterprise at this point in Star Trek history is already 20 years old.
Yes.
The Shenzhou is supposed to be old too, though.
Not as old as the Enterprise is already on its second captain in his second 5-year run at this point. So,
which, by the way, people who continuously bash Discovery, you can thank Discovery for the fact that April's canon now.
Yep. Well, yeah. Even though this TOS has been, or the TAS has been,
TAS isn't canon.
Nitpicked.
But Robert April's mentioned.
You know who's not mentioned? And I'm going to throw this out there just because I think it's hilarious.
Oh, God.
You know who's not mentioned in any of those as a decorated officer in Starfleet? Garth of Izar. So, there's that. Sorry. But, again, everybody's losing their minds. Oh, I hate it. It's horrible and blah, blah, blah. And what did they do to it? It makes perfect sense. I mean, I like some of the people.
One of the things they're bitching about is the window on the bridge. Yet if you go back and look at the cage,
there was a window.
There's a window on the bridge.
That was my favorite thing today. Is some guys like, if you go back and you look at the start of the cage, you can see there's no window, and he posts a picture, and you can very clearly see the window.
Yeah, they removed it for the actual series because Roddenberry said having a window in the front would be a tactical disadvantage to anybody shooting at having the bridge at the top of the saucer.
Yeah, if you're not going to have a window, if you're going to have a view screen, why put the bridge at the top?
They said they've covered that though. That is actually the most heavily armored and protected part of the ship.
And let's not forget that the D had a giant glass dome.
Yes,
this is true.
But either way, I mean,
and of course, so does the Odyssey. If we think about it.
Flip
Odyssey.
Out. Yes, the Odyssey has a glass window.
Actually, yes. I've got a question regarding the Starfleet ships of that era.
Mm-hmm.
So, how many of them actually had the bridge on the underside of the saucer?
I don't know, but that was a cool idea. I know a lot of people didn't like it. I thought it was a pretty sweet idea.
Apparently,
I was like, wait, how do you deal with the gravity situation?
Well, the gravity plating is a thing.
Yeah.
And honestly, the Shenzhou, as I understand it, was an exploration ship. And it makes sense for a bridge to be there because it then means that when you're surveying a planet and you're in orbit, you can look out the window and be like, I can survey that. We're surveying that thing.
And this has always bugged me about the original Enterprise. We're talking about scale. One of the things that bugs me is the shuttle bay.
Why?
The scale on the shuttle bay on the original doesn't make a lot of sense.
No. It didn't make much sense in the TNP one either.
It makes more sense than what they did in the reboot, but whatever.
Yes, true. And we'll talk about the reboot.
It's not like... I just think it's funny that we're talking about scale, and like Alistair says, there's been scale issues with it from day one.
Yeah. I will say that even though I don't mind Ryan Church's original design and then the refit design that they did for Beyond, where they angled the nacelles back a little bit. This blows that design out of the water. It's, even though it's supposed to be the exact same ship, and I mean, it just goes to prove that yes, the Kelvin timeline and this timeline, two separate things. Well, this can't be Prime. It doesn't look like the Enterprise. It is the Enterprise. It's the Enterprise.
Well, once again, it's Prime just because CBS frickin' says it is.
It is. And again, visual aesthetics change. And I'm going to say it again. My big thing was, wow, they really pushed the envelope when they went to that. I mean, it is a big change because of the time period they're setting in. And I do understand. I still have my issues here and there with certain things. 1960s technology, they did what they could do on their budgets to say this is what the future is going to look like. Then we get to the next generation, which today is dated in its technology. When you look at the things that they have, it's dated because we have more advanced stuff now.
It was top notch then.
Yeah, it was top notch then, and then you move further on. And they changed slightly as they got to Voyager, things were updated, still keeping the visual style to a point, but they updated certain things. And then by the time we got to Enterprise, they got almost a clean slate because they could go back and say, okay, we know what technology looks like in 2001. Let's push it 75 years, and they did. And
it's like if you take away the inherent direct space travel related stuff, artificial gravity, shields, actual warp drive, that sort of stuff. But the computer technology, even to a sense, holograms, communications technology, that sort of stuff, we are significantly more advanced than Gene Roddenberry predicted us being in 200 years.
Yes.
Already. After 50.
Yes.
So we can blame Star Trek for that because we like, ooh, cool idea. Why don't we have this? And then people went and invented it.
Okay, here we go. And then people went and invented it. Think about the fact that in your pocket, 99% of the human beings on this planet, probably not 99%, have a touchscreen computer in their pocket. Whereas 200 years, in Gene Roddenberry's mind, it would still be a flip-open radio-looking thing. And while they've kept that aesthetic where it's a flip-open communicator in Discovery and stuff like that, technically, it really wouldn't be. It would be, I would think it would be more in lines with the Earth Final Conflict, pull-out, floppy LED screen kind of thing where you can actually visually see who you're talking to and what you're doing.
I think you're forgetting a very key element, though.
And that would be?
World War III and the eugenics wars.
True.
There's a lot of reversion that would probably have taken place. So
now
you got to rebuild everything.
I got to ask, because I really didn't realize it. Did they not, in the original series, it was the eugenics wars were mentioned, but there was never a mention of an actual world war that wiped out what, I can't remember what Riker said in First Contact. That it was the Next Generation films that did that. That there was no World War III in the original Star Trek history.
They contradict themselves. People used to assume that eugenics wars was World War III. Then the novels have them. Some of the novels have them being interchangeable. Some of them have them as separate events. It gets really weird.
Either way.
Yeah,
between this and the Millennium Falcon, people are losing their freaking minds.
I just realized how much farther out the nacelles are angled. Not that it bugs me. The angle is more, like y'all said, more TMP than TOS.
Oh yeah, there's a definite cantilever going on.
Actually, you were wrong. They did mention World War III in the original series.
When?
Gary Seven said it.
Oh,
Seven warned Kirk that if he didn't allow Seven to stop the weapon, World War III would commence then.
Oh.
So
that's
their first reference.
I know TNG mentions World War III.
Star Trek First Contact had that.
Well, no, TNG mentions it because when Q shows up, one of the things he dresses as is the drug-fueled mercenary soldier from World War III.
Either way, Star Trek contradicts itself all the time. And while I am, as a designer and as an artist, I look at this and I'm like, you know what? It's pretty blasted cool because it not only has some of the motion picture Enterprise, it's a definite Enterprise. It is instantly recognizable for what it is.
Oh, and we're also forgetting about Colonel Philip Green. That was also mentioned in the original series. So they did have World War III references.
Okay.
So, well, World War III / eugenics wars, they kind of flowed into each other. One went to the other.
Because I believe Spock referred to the eugenics wars as the last so-called World War in Space Seed.
It kind of technically really were one and the same. Well, though you can also make the argument that World War I and World War II were one and the same, but with a break. So, but still, they kind of flowed into each other. Because eugenics wars involved Khan, and then he left, and everybody else was like, you know what, we should kill each other, and off they went. And then they nearly did kill each other.
Now you die.
And then everyone's like, guys, we done screwed up. Let's stop this. This is bad.
And then Zephyr Cochrane's like, I'm gonna refit a missile.
Star Trek's still fiction. The 90s came and went. We didn't have eugenics wars.
Yay!
We did not have space probes go to Mars and all that kind of stuff like we saw in Voyager. And
well, we kind of did. We're still there.
Curiosity would like to argue with you.
Well, I'm talking not the way the timelines and stuff. I mean, the timelines don't kind of match when you start thinking about like the riots they had in Voyager.
No, the riots are DS9.
Riots were DS9.
Voyager's time travel really doesn't match.
Voyager
they travel to the real 90s.
Yeah, Voyager was 90, like mid-90s LA with Sarah Silverman.
Yeah, they traveled to the real 90s.
Which at that point should have been right in the middle of the eugenics wars. So again,
unless it's an alternate timeline, which Star Trek has covered ad nauseum. Different parallel dimension.
I will give Discovery this. We have seen a lot more of Klingon anatomy and learned a lot more of Klingons than we ever needed to know.
All right, I'm just going to water the yard.
We've seen Klingon boobies, which we did not need to see at all. Whoa. Now, I want to know how they're going to reconcile that, because that is part of the history laid out by Enterprise, that there are flathead Klingons.
I don't know, but at this point, with everything I've seen, even though there are reasons to have some legitimate complaints with Discovery, with everything that I have seen thus so far, I have faith in the team that they will set everything right.
Is it faith of the heart?
Shut up!
I knew somebody was going to do it.
I was going to get to it.
I will say the first half of the season is not as good as the second half. The second half, once they actually get past all the tardigrade stuff, I mean, it was like they were trying to do fill-in shows. I don't understand.
Okay, now I swear they originally stated that Mudd was going to have like 3 or 4 appearances, not 2.
I'm glad he didn't. Too much Mudd. It's like Q. It's like too much Q. But no, the second half of Discovery was so much better. And my hopes and dreams are that they start doing standalone stories for the second season, where more like the other shows. Even though Deep Space Nine got very episodic in the last 3 seasons, where they followed one right after the other. But if they went more where they were standalone shows, and it was more of a show about discovery, it would be awesome.
You know, I've got a bit of a question.
Are we
going to see a Q-like being in Discovery?
I hope not.
Well, there was plenty of them in the original series.
Kinda.
There was all kinds of all-powerful beings.
All powerful, but not Qs.
Trelane was the closest to a Q we ever saw.
And I think it was confirmed somewhere that
in a book.
In a book, he's Q's kid or cousin or something. It's weird.
Yes, but there was a long, drawn-out thing on Facebook whether or not the Trelane was a Q, and so many people say yes, and so many people say... I like to think that, yeah, maybe he was a Q. But either way.
Offshoot Q.
I digest.
He's not a Q.
You digest?
Yes.
Is it Space Whale?
He's not a Q, he's an R.
Really, I thought he was an S.
One or the other.
He was a really big S in that movie. Or that show.
I see what you did there.
He was. Spoiled little S.
That's how we end the show. Good night, folks.
That is how we're going to end the show. So we're looking at an hour right now. Oh, so last call, boys.
Last call.
In a other strange twist in the current, environment for video games, Nordic THQ are going to be releasing DRM free versions of Darksiders 3, which is weird because everybody loves DRM. At least if you ask big major companies.
Well, actually, speaking of THQ Nordic, apparently they just reacquired the rights. They just reacquired the rights to Saints Row.
Yep.
After losing it, a couple years ago?
Oh, the Olympics are still going on. More sliding.
Slip.
There's
Slip and slide.
There's fancy sliding. There's fast sliding. It's all sliding.
But you're forgetting the most important sliding, the most boring one known to man.
Rock sliding.
Sometimes it's shooting.
Shooting and sliding. I think if you really want to impress me, do these summer games in the winter. That would impress me. I want to see the pole vault on ice.
There's just broken bodies all over the place.
I know it's
my back!
These people really are true athletes. They really are. But it's still just sliding in various forms.
More dangerous.
Yes. And just like most other things that I watch sports related, I'm usually looking for accidents and people to do bad things, especially the ski jump.
Apparently there was a problem with I think it was the women's ski jump, was it?
Weather, yeah, the weather was
No,
horrific.
it's not the ski jump. I think it's like the slalom or something. They keep having to delay it.
It's winter.
Yeah, it was a case of the winds were the issue. I was watching it earlier. Just because it was on.
No, I did watch Shaun White's his run, his gold medal winning run, and that was pretty blasted impressive that you can do that on a board.
Well,
that takes skill.
If Tade were here, he'd be regaling you the tale about how the Japan pairs skaters skated to...
Oh, I know. I thought you were going to go something about him sliding on something, and I really don't want to talk about that.
Oh, man. You know what would be hysterical? And actually, since we have video footage out there, we'd have to find some way to do it. But get the video footage for Shaun White doing his half-pipe thing. But down the middle, we just have a splice in video footage of a penguin flying down. That's why Tade's not present tonight.
Too much Yuri on Ice. Too much.
Let's see. Last call. Since we're on Discord now,
yes,
for our listening audience of, we got one, two, no, okay, one. Anyway, for those of you who may be interested, we can have you set up so you can actually comment to us. I believe Alistair dropped a link earlier.
Yes, there are ways we can have it all. We can tie it all back in. We can have Facebook comments. We could have YouTube, Twitch. It's all good.
Yeah, I mean, so there's ways we can fix it up so that that's more interactive. You guys can drop news to us, things like that. I mean, we're not the only geeks on the planet.
Nope. One of these days, I'm gonna figure it out. Right now, because the stream, the multi-stream restream doesn't have Facebook Live capabilities yet, but they are working on it, and I would love to be able to stream to Facebook as well. But that's much in the future. But that was last call. Oh wait, what?
Well, I was gonna say two things. First, Firefly. That is just a terrible, terrible pun. It's not the dirty pair. And secondly, apparently Netflix is going to be doing a live-action Sword Art Online, but they're not interested in whitewashing the live-action Sword Art Online.
Why would you?
That's what they
Look
do.
at Death Note.
Side note, Castlevania was actually really good. I wish they would stop doing this. We're going to show you only a few episodes, and then you just have to wait till we finish the rest.
My last call is, according to solo co-writer John Kasdan, the Millennium Falcon is decades older than we think.
It is very, very old.
And it is very pimped out. That is Lando's ship, and it's the way it does.
Yeah, I just want to know what the hell Chewie and Han did to it after that.
They explained it. What's his name? Alden Ehrenreich. Ehrenreich? He explained it. He goes, when you're smuggling, flying around in a fancy, flashy ship will get you pulled over instantly. So,
well, I'm just talking about the insides. It looks like they ran out of toilet paper.
That was the reasoning behind that he said behind it was that Han Solo operated different than Lando, and he did not want to be boarded and have a flashy looking ship, so he just let it go to hell. All the accoutrements that he did were to the engines.
That doesn't speak well to Star Wars materials that they went from white to brown like that.
So, okay, this is canon, like new canon stuff. Okay, the area between Endor and Force Awakens is called the Cold War. So, literally 5 ABY, so about 85 BBY. So 60 some odd years before Phantom Menace is when the Millennium Falcon was first sold. So it's old.
It's an old ship.
Well, even if you read the book, of the Falcon, it's always hinted that it's an old ship.
So old.
That it had lots of captains.
That's the cool thing about Star Wars is their technology just lasts forever.
If you think about it, so does Star Trek's.
True.
Look at them Mirandas.
Miranda. All right, we're out of here. We'll be back next week after I'm all exhausted from running around Florida for a weekend. We will definitely be talking Rebels. We all have to watch it. There's no ifs, ands, or buts because it returns on Monday. And Black Panther, possibly seeing it this weekend. Hopefully, we will definitely talk about that. So
I will be seeing it Saturday.
Until then,
I'm trying to see it Saturday.
Anything else?
You want to speak?
Something about soon Ezra Bridger shall join the dark side.
And on that note, we're out of here.
Smell those beans.
Sorry, I was very hungry.